Hello everybody, I'm Garrett, you're watching 11 Bang Bang. Today we have a plethora of things here on the table, but we're not talking about the guns. Today we are doing a review of Duke Frazier production holsters. And yes, all of these are Duke Frazier production holsters. We have 22 of them, I believe, and actually 2 of them aren't here right now. But we have 20 of them on the table, plus the Pommel holsters here. So, before we get into this, let me say, this is not sponsored by Duke Frazier Productions. He didn't give us any of these. We paid full price for everything you see here. The reason we have so many of them, same reason we have so many military heritage muskets, we're pretty loyal. Somebody treats us well and good customer service and gives us a good product until there comes a time that we need to change. We're probably going to continue to get all our products from said person. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into some of these holsters and review them. All right, this is actually the latest holster, and some of you have already seen this. This is the 1872 pattern of U.S. Army holster. This is what you would see guys carrying their 73 single action armies in. Right now, we actually have the 72 open top in it because I don't have a 7.5 inch single action army here right now. So, yep, just slits in there. We got a finial and we got a tie down. The one thing about this particular 1872 model holster that is not correct is it should, according to Duke, it should have a swivel on the back, but no one makes the correct swivel type. So he went with, I believe, an older military style rivet belt loop. And it's pretty good. It's really solid. This is a beast of a holster made out of really good leather. Also up here on the front, you see we have this extra pouch. This is for a cleaning tool for a 7.5 inch single action army or 1872 open top. We also have this extra deal right here. This is a holder for a cleaning rod that they put on this particular model. It's for a 7.5 inch cleaning rod for a 7.5 inch single action army. As you can see, Duke does really good work there. We got the US stamping up there. And really heavy leather. This is a beast of a holster. It's really, really nice. I really do enjoy it. That's the latest one. All right, now, this next one we have is a little bit different. At first glance, you would say this looks just like a Slim Jim, but it's not. It doesn't have the swell you see on a lot of Slim Jims down here. And it's very particular in its cut up here and how sharp that is right there over the trigger guard. That is because we had him make this off of a picture of a holster that Jesse James had. And this is very close to that. It's got the same exact belt style and everything. This is a cross draw for a right hand. And this is a carbon copy of the Jesse James holster. Now, we bought it because we had a full length, one of the first 1,000 Smith & Wesson Model 3 Americans on the way. It did not show up, so we wound up settling with one that was cut down. So now we have a extra long holster and a original Smith & Wesson Model 3. This is still one of the first 1,000, and it goes right in there. And we do actually have another one on the way, so it won't go to waste. But for now, yeah, that's pretty well exactly what Jesse James's holster rig would have looked like in his later years. All right, so moving down, we have the double loop, and this is actually a Cheyenne double loop because it has the little swell here that helps keep the holster from pulling out. This one is actually brand new, and it is for the 4 3/4 single action army, and it works really, really well. Now we have another double loop that is a straight black one that's almost like this, but not the Cheyenne style with the hump in there. But yes, we have 2 of these, one in this color, one in black, as you probably see right now. And these work really, really well. They're straight up and down, right hand draw, and yeah, just as simple, basic holster, but does really good. You see the retention there. You can see that retention. It holds the gun in. The gun's not just gonna fall out, so you don't technically need a hammer thong on there. So moving along, this one right here is the first one I got. And of all Duke Frazier production holsters ever made, I guarantee you this one has the most use. You've seen me wear this particular holster in every video I've made for the last year and a half. Didn't matter if it was a flintlock video, another single action army video, or if I had a cap and ball. I always had a single action pistol in this on my side. Wore this thing every day for just about, it's been over a year and a half, going on 2 years. And you can see he did not rivet this one. This is just a sewn belt loop there. And we are talking a regular right-handed cross draw. And the leather's gotten a little soft, but like I said, 2.5 years of nearly everyday use. And really the only wear on it's down here around the toe plug where it hits when you get in and out of tractors and things like that. A lot of scuffs and scratches, but we have this original 1860 Army in it right now. Usually I carry my 72 open top in here, but as you can see, everything on it is holding up just fine after use and abuse. It's been hung in barbed wire fences. It's been knocked around on horses. I fell on the ground with it. I've done everything you can imagine with this holster on. Rode four-wheelers, in and out of tractors, just everyday working piece holster, and it has held up extremely well. And like I said, it's got a few years on it, and it's got a few nicks and dings on it. Probably the most used Duke Frazier production holster ever. All right, down here now we have a pair. These are basically the same holster that you were just looking at. We ordered this set for these Caleb's 61 Navy and his 60 Army. They kind of go together. There is a difference here. This one is actually a left-handed cross draw, but it can also be, because it can be used with the other in conjunction with the other one. You can see it's got a different type of belt loop on there, but there's enough room in there that on a 2-inch belt you can still carry it right upright. And so what we generally do is we take these and you wear them both butt forward in a cavalry twist. See, is this one right here? So we go on like this, and you could, like I said, you can make this one more of a cross draw, but it works out just fine that way. This is a set for Caleb. It's got his 60 Army in here. Let's see. Yes, sir. This is the Pieta 1860 Army in that one. And we have the Uberti 1861 Navy in that one, and that's kind of a set. Now, we have another one here that has not been worn as much as those, and you can see it's kind of new. This one belongs to my nephew, actually, and it has the Pieta 1851 Navy in it, and he wears this a lot, really likes it, goes good with a black vest, and it's same loop setup there, but just in black, and has more representative of what this would look like if it hadn't been worn very much. All right, so moving down here, this one is really special. Once again, we have the standard Slim Jim style. We got this, but we have beadwork on this one, and that is because this is an original Metropolitan Navy. And they only made about 3,000 of these. They're kind of rare, and this one actually works. And we have shot it. So we wanted a special holster for it. It said beadworked. On the back, we have the rivet. It is a cross draw. It is a right-handed cross draw, but inside, Duke has lined this with deer skin. It's very soft, very easy on the gun. A little more money for something like this, but you know, when you have a fairly rare original that works and you can shoot, you need to get that gun a good piece of leather, one that'll last a lifetime, and I know this one will because we don't carry it as much as some others. What else can I say about it? This is just a beautiful piece of work. A lot of love went into this, and a lot of effort, and I really do appreciate it. Beautiful beadwork for a good old revolver that still runs. And moving on down the line, we have this holster. Now, this one is kind of special. At first glance, you will think that looks just like the Jesse James holster, but there are a few differences. It does look just like it. They're both right-handed cross-draw holsters, and they both have that little sharp edge around the trigger, just like that, trigger guard. And they both have these flaps and cuts. But if you look at the front, the cut on this one is much deeper, and it actually stands up taller. And if you look down here at the belly, you will see this one has the swell. Now that is because this is the Jesse James style holster. Duke copied this one off of Wild Bill Hickok's holster, and he had one that looked a lot like this, and so that's kind of what it is. And because it is a Wild Bill Hickok style holster, we thought it fitting to put a 51 Navy in it. And like I said, this one hasn't been carried as much as some of them on here, but yeah, very interesting holster, a Wild Bill Hickok special. All right, now we're still doing Slim Jim, so let's move on down here. This is the 49 pocket model Slim Jim. These are actually something you can't just go out to the store and buy. The 49 pocket model is a very unique design gun with a very unique size. So you're not just gonna find a holster for it just anywhere. He made this, fits it like a glove. This is the 1849 Colt pocket model, as I said. But yeah, standard little Slim Jim. You see we have this rise in the belly here. We have a standard belt loop here because this is not a cross draw. This is just straight up and down, strong hand, right hand gun holster. This one has actually been worn quite a bit around the farm, and it has held up really, really well. It's got a little wear on the toe plug there, but I would say out of all the holsters we have here, this is either third or fourth most carried. All right, now moving down here, we have a special one. This is technically a holster designed for a 49 pocket model with a 5.5-inch barrel, but we had Duke work this one up a little special. As you can see, it's really tight down in here. Doesn't have anything where like a loading lever would go. What we had him do is we took measurements and he made this one fit a Smith & Wesson Model 2 Army. And it fits it like a glove. It fits it really well. This is a right-handed cross draw, just like a lot of the ones you'll see here. It is open-toed there, no plug in the bottom, which is perfectly fine. It's historically accurate, and that's just a very nice full flap holster right there. And like I said, we gave him the measurements and he made it to perfectly fit the Smith & Wesson Model 2 Army. It covers it up, gives it good protection. Not much else I can say about it, just a full flap holster. Works really, really well. All right, I believe this was the first holster we ever ordered from him because we were looking for holsters for the Smith & Wesson Schofield. And the trouble we were having was on most holsters that you buy that would fit like a single action Army, first of all, it'd be very tight. And second of all, if you were shoving it in and you hook that, the gun would come open. And it's not a good deal. And it's actually some historical reference to that. So we had him take his triple loop Mexican holster and he just designed the front a little better to where he cut that down where it cannot hit the Schofield latch right there. And I gotta say that this is probably the second most used holster we have, the oldest one we have. Caleb wears this one pretty religiously. As you can see, it's really got some marks and dings and stuff on it, but it holds up really well. And I would say probably one of our favorite holsters. Definitely one of our most carried. Really, really works well. This is specifically designed with that cut to fit a Smith & Wesson Schofield with an 8-inch barrel, and it does a very good job of that. He also has this, by the way, if you don't get that cut, it's historically accurate for a 7.5-inch single action Army. And I know Duke actually has one that's his personal one that he carries like that. But yeah, lots of room in here for a big belt, for big cartridges, you know, 45 or 45 Schofield, 45 Colt, as these replicas a lot of times shoot 45 Colt. If you're looking for a holster for a Schofield, you really can't go wrong with one of these big triple loop Mexican holsters from Duke Frazier Productions. Really good deal. All right, so here I'm gonna do two. This is a pair we had made up, and I really love these because, well, for one thing, they're brand new. But for another, not only does he have his maker's mark in there, now he's done some tooling work around the maker's mark. Looks really good. These are for 1862 pocket navies. And we have a set of them, like I said here. I'll probably wind up wearing them butt forward, but you could just use left and right. And I've got a belt that goes with these. I haven't even got it there yet. But yeah, we got the 62 pocket police in this one, and they do fit snug, guys, but that's what they're supposed to do so the gun doesn't fall out. And I actually have the 62. If I can get this one out, it's kind of sitting in there. Yeah, tight. This is for the 62 pocket Navy or 65 pocket Navy, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's a match set right there. He kind of put them together for us out of the blue when we asked him, and he didn't know if he had time to do it. And I said I really would like to have them, and he got busy on it and turned them out in a pretty good hurry, and they're really nice, and I really do like them. So anyway, moving on down, this is another brand new one. That is the slimmest Slim Jim you're probably ever gonna see. This is the first one of these that I have seen in person, and for most people, they're never gonna see this holster. This is a historically accurate holster for the Texas Rangers to carry their Colt Pattersons in. As you can see, no loading lever, no trigger, no nothing, which leads to a very, very narrow, slim holster. Now, Duke did inform me, he put his maker mark in there, by the way, he's got it on the back too, but we always ask for him to put his maker mark on the front. I really like the way that looks. Duke did inform me that the basket weave is not on anything he's seen, but we asked him to put that basket weave on there because I personally really do like it. And, you know, it's just not a holster you're gonna see very much of ever anywhere unless you get one from Duke Frazier, because I don't believe that there is anybody that makes anything like this besides him. And the reason he can do it is he has the books, he has the patterns, and he also has a couple Pattersons that he can use to mold off of. And that's probably why not many other people have them, because not a lot of people have Pattersons. But yes, this is a true Slim Jim in my opinion. It's a beautiful holster. This is also a right-hand cross draw. You're gonna see a lot of that. That's what we usually request, because it's right-hand cross draw is just the most practical for us to use. I've got whole videos on why you use cross draws on horseback and everything else. But anyway, yes, very, very much in love with this holster. Fits this gun like a glove. Like I said, you got some pretty tight retention there, but that's what you want. And just a very unique holster. You're not gonna find many other places other than Duke Frazier Productions. All right, so moving on down, I got another pair of holsters here. These are the Gus McCrae holsters. This one in particular has a walker in it. This is a Colt 2nd generation black box walker. And if you notice, it sticks out the end of the holster. Well, that's because in the TV series Lonesome Dove, Gus McCrae's gun stuck out the end of the holster just like that. These are actually historically supposed to be used with a Dragoon. But the show uses a walker, so we use a walker with that one, but we also got 2 of them. This is what they would look like with the Dragoon. No barrel sticking out. This is the Uberti 3rd model Dragoon. Fits right in there, fits really good. And that is a big holster for a big pistol. Like I said, we got a pair of them just so we would have one for each gun. You really need to have one holster for every gun, because as the holster, you sometimes want the holster and the gun to live together for a little while, so it kind of forms itself to that particular gun. Okay, so another new one here. This is for you notice I have my Thunder in there and it looks like it's sitting down really deep. Well, there's a reason for that. This is actually for a 4 3/4 inch Colt. This is a half lap, they call it, civilian half lap. What would happen generally was the guys that had the full flap military holsters didn't like it that well, holsters like this one. So they wanted to retain the gun good, but they didn't want all that flap. And so they would just cut part of it off and then sew that little latch on there, and you have a civilian half lap. This is for a 4 3/4. The reason it looks like mine is sitting in there so deep is right now I have my 3.5 inch Thunder in it. Still works really well, carries up really nice. This strap gives it plenty of retention. This is a right-handed cross draw again, and I've been wearing this for a couple days. I've already put some scuffs on it, but yeah, this is going to be the one that kind of goes with this one. I'll be rotating them in and out, carrying long barrels and short barrels, but those are my 2 right there, my 2 main ones. Cross draw, got his maker's mark right back there, nothing fancy on the front. I do have another one of these that belongs to my brother-in-law that is fancy on the front, that he carries his Ruger Super Blackhawk in, because these actually fit a 4 and 5/8 Ruger Super Blackhawk pretty well. They're a little snug, but they fit pretty well. And his actually has checkering and is really nice, and he uses it for reenactment. But yeah, he carries a Ruger Super Blackhawk in there. Now, getting on down to the end, we have another one that's been carried a lot. This one is Ethan's personal one here. This is Duke's 1911 style holster. By the way, he does have right now in production a 1911 shoulder holster he's working on. This is Ethan's gun, Ethan's holster. Just an old ATI 1911, and this is the gun that Ethan carries, and usually he carries it in this holster. This is the style of holster you would see William Holden using in the Wild Bunch and things like that. It looks like an Old West double loop. It's historically accurate. Yes, in 1915, 1920, guys were carrying 1911s around in the Old West that wasn't quite dead yet. It was still pretty wild. And they were carrying them around in holsters that looked just like this. So yes, historically accurate. Now, Moving on here, we have the big boys here. This is probably our most expensive purchase, and it was a lot of work. These are the Duke Frazier pommel holsters, and they are tooled, they're basket weaved, and they are pommel bags. And in both sides they're pommel bags, and both sides are holsters. On this side we have the Rogers and Spencer. This is an original, and I'm not going to pull it out because everything's kind of hanging loose here. And on this side we have the Spiller and Burr. These two holsters are actually made to fit 60 Armies, but they'll fit about anything really. And you know, these are really well basket weaved, tooled, fit really well on a horse. I've got videos of me using them on horseback and shooting out of them on horseback. And a lot of times when we're going to the range, we will take, if we want to look historically accurate in the video, we put our caps and stuff if we're firing cap and ball pistols, carry our extra ammo, whatever we need, caps, powder. A lot of times that'll all be inside these pommel bags in the background. And at long last, that is the end of our Duke Frazier production holster collection. Out of all of these, I have to say my favorite personally is this one, just because I've carried it so much and you guys have seen me carry it so much. I believe this is probably Caleb's favorite, as you can tell. Seen a lot of use over the past this one has right at 2 years he's been carrying with this thing. Ethan probably prefers the 1911 holster. But yeah, overall, really good holsters. Go look him up, Duke Frazier Productions at gmail.com. Like I said, every holster, as you can see here, we have literally every kind of imaginable holster you would ever need. He has now moved on to making some other things like roper cuffs, just all kinds of stuff like that. Coasters. He's still not making belts as far as I know, but anybody that can make something like this Patterson holster, you better look him up, because you're not going to find that holster a lot of places, I promise you. So as always, trust in God, keep your powder dry. Bye.